As for the past 12 months of boxing, we've seen it all. A bantamweight passing of the torch, a welterweight rollback of the years, and an incredible resurgence of the heavyweight belts.
And the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
High-powered exchanges, split-second showstoppers, and absolutely everything in between. And so here, we take a look at some of the most action-packed nights of 2019, varying in event size, weight class, and outcome, but all with one thing in common: drama.
Swing from the hip!
Here we present the 10 craziest boxing fights of 2019. Welcome to a Motivedia presentation. Because it is subjective and a matter of opinion, we break down our top 10 fights in no particular order. Each made possible through perfect matchmaking, stylistic balance, or just by sheer heart and courage.
It needs to dig real deep here.
Firstly, the most relevant fight of the lot, as we recently saw the rematch set boxing's biggest draw back on the undisputed path.
A boxing masterclass!
However, that unforgettable night in New York, intended as Joshua's U.S. breakthrough, slowly turned into an upset of the decade. Knocking down Ruiz in the third with a swift 1-2, Joshua became willing to exchange, a decision that would see him worse off. Concussed and unable to recover, Ruiz capitalized to become the first Mexican heavyweight champion.
That's right up there in the history of big upsets that are littered through this division.
Where Joshua fell short in his American debut, his Scottish super lightweight counterpart took advantage on home soil. And whilst the Super Series final always brings drama, this one was special.
He goes for the ultimate glory. Is this the night, Cole, where Josh Taylor becomes a real star?
Rough and physical from the offset, the two unbeaten southpaws clashed immediately. And with each break came even more intensity, as the Tartan Tornado battled through a cut and swollen right eye.
Coming through the middle, also looking like he's settling down a little bit. It's the physical strength of Josh Taylor, who's having a wonderful...
A joint, resounding display of will that ultimately saw Taylor take a majority decision to become unified.
Pride of Scotland!
Next, just 2 weeks later and 5,000 miles east, came the bantamweight final in Japan. A chance to see boxing's most prolific offensive fighter tested against a Filipino legend. Similarly, the fight caught fire early with hand speed, power, and combinations from both men.
To there, who was the track setter in the glory years of his career. So no, that's that left foot getting into the second half of the contest, not having to have done much. So here we go, see the jab there, beautiful, but over the...
Inoue, riding out a trademark right hook from Donaire in the 9th, managed to then drop him in the 11th.
Get behind him. That's a lovely left to the body, lovely shot. I don't know what the ref's doing.
And where the monster finally faced the test that fans craved, he passed with flying colors.
And he's answered lots of questions, he really has. He's a great champion.
Back in March, Russian welterweight Sergey Lipinets also started his year in style, beating hometown favorite Lamont Peterson in Maryland.
You saw the train with him said he wanted to work on his foot speed.
Another grinding back-and-forth slugfest where both fighters unloaded big shots on the inside.
One of the things, Joe Goose, and I went out to the gym with Van Nuys.
With Peterson getting the better of the early rounds, Lipinets started to take control from the 6th as both threw career-high punch totals.
What a shot!
We know Lamont can take a shot.
Wow.
And he can't take too many more of those.
Wow.
Though by the 10th, it was the Russian who took control, doing enough to force the stoppage in a thrilling performance.
Wardini goes down, and here comes the
I appreciate this as a fight fan. You can't do no better for fight fans.
Staying in the welterweight division, the Staples Center saw a September collision between two of the sport's elite.
Welterweight champion of the world.
In the build-up, fans were promised a war.
I am gonna knock you out, though. You sure? I promise you that. I promise you. Come get me.
And in a frenetic encounter from start to finish, they certainly got one.
Oh, it's a big left hand. Good left hand there from Spencer. Comes forward, it's a little bit crude at times, but he's having success here.
Porter used his work rate and smothering style, as Spence capitalized from body shots and power punches. And with the Texans scoring a knockdown in the 11th, which set alight a frantic final round, he secured a split decision victory, adding the WBC strap to his collection.
What a fight.
Whilst Poland may not host many world-level boxers, it could well have produced the craziest fight of 2019. An all-action roller coaster between Talarek and Szymanski. A night which featured not one, not two, but 10 knockdowns in only 5 rounds. With each round bringing its own twist, Talarek was down 4 times in the first 2, before regaining control to land a right hand in the 5th that would see the fight waved off, sealing his 4th straight victory. From all Polish to an all English collision, this time at Newcastle Arena. A bout between Davis Jr. and Ritson, billed as bad blood.
I'm not going anywhere.
And whilst build-ups filled with trash talk rarely live up to expectation, this was an exception.
So good couple of good left hooks there from Davis. So good left hook from Ritson.
With a red-hot opening round setting the pace, both men had fluctuating success early on.
Can they keep this pace up?
And with neither letting up, the two traded relentlessly right to the final bell.
Firing shot. 15-12 punch combination. Look back to Davis. Both of them embrace boxing at its best.
Ending after 12 grueling rounds, with the hometown favorite taking a unanimous victory. Back in the summer, we saw another controversial night in California.
My commands, touch him up. Back to your corner, gentlemen.
Flyweight Elwin Soto, an 8-1 underdog, pulled off the performance of his career.
And we say, oh, what a shot by Soto.
Against his hard-hitting Puerto Rican opponent, he chose to pick his shots on the back foot, and displaying power of his own, he dropped Acosta in the 3rd, spurring an all-out firefight.
A ferocious left-right combo from Elwin Soto.
However, where Soto was effective, he fell behind on work rate, before turning the momentum in the 12th and final round to secure a sensational KO victory.
Acosta's stunned. Soto.
Usually, we reserve high-paced slugfests for the lower weight classes. However, the Barclays Center saw 2 heavyweights break CompuBox records in August.
Straight at him. He's not going to take a backward step right now.
Just shy of 2,200 punches thrown, with 667 landed, tells you everything you need to know.
Leonard's making me tired just looking at these guys throwing all these punches, man.
Trading haymakers from the opening bell, Arreola showed more versatility in the early rounds, though with the baby-faced assassin landing the more thudding blows, the momentum swayed in his favor.
Kavnovsky's throwing some volume punches right now, so he senses something.
Ultimately, with all 3 scorecards favoring Kovnatsky, they didn't quite reflect both men's sacrifice to entertain the paying public.
And still undefeated, Adam Kovnatsky.
Last, but certainly not least, another Fight of the Year contender, and yet another huge upset.
And I don't do no faking. I think he's a good fighter, but I also think I'm gonna beat him.
In front of his rowdy hometown crowd, Hurd was dropped in the second for the first time in his career, which sent the fight into overdrive. Both exchanged heavy shots on the inside, with Hurd using his size to his advantage where possible.
Big right hand by Hurd. And Hurd is pouring it
However, with Williams managing to outbox and outbrawl the super welterweight champion, the upset looked inevitable. And upon his name being announced victorious, the Philly fighter dropped to his knees on the most incredible night of his career.
Unified super welterweight champion of the world.